Okay, number 4 in my testimonies. In 3, we ended about a Mr. Gerald Henney from Joplin, Missouri, who had been coming up with his family to a Bud family to spend time with a family they didn't know on witnessing weekends. I shared everything that was going on with me and smoking a cigarette in the parking lot at a potluck, and told him my woes, and that I had been charged with strong arm robbery and so on, and had to go to court next week. Well, Mr. Henning and his family said, "Do you mind if I?" Well, he said, "Do you mind if I come up to the court?" And I said, "No, I don't mind." And so him and his wife Cheryl came to court in Independence, Missouri, the juvenile court, and they came in, and the judge went about his business, and the charges read and all those things, and then Gerald petitioned the court if he could speak, and he did. And he said, "Okay, Your Honor, we would like to take Miles into our home." Uh, oh, that's right. They sentenced me to a year in McCune, a juvenile penitentiary is what it was. You could stay there for several years, depending on when you were incarcerated, until you were 18, and they moved you to a adult prison, depending on your crime. So he stands up and says, "I would like to petition the court to take Miles into our custody and be responsible for him for the years of probation, as a year of probation versus going to the penal institution." And he says, "Furthermore, I'll make him write a letter and for restitution and pay back the $62 or $63 himself, and try and help turn him around." And the judge granted it. So I packed up my clothes and we were on our way to Joplin. Now, mind you, Gerald and Cheryl were young. He had been going through some things in his own life and drawing closer to God in the midst of it. But the bottom line is that he had a 5-year-old son named Keith and a 7-year-old daughter named Kimberly. Right? Okay. And so away we went to a drug using, tattooed, rebellious um, uh, injection into their home. And the first night, I'll never forget it. I get down there and, "Hey, can I go get something with the car?" He had well, he had a couple cars. He had an Oldsmobile. I think it was an '88 with a big souped up motor. He had been into racing with Tri-States, trucking, and so on. But he also had a '64 stick shift Malibu 2-door hardtop. So he says, "Okay, yeah, there's a mugs up root beer place uptown. Just go up there." And I don't know if he gave me a buck or whatever, but anyway, so I drive up there. Everything's going fine. I find it, and then I go in there and order root beer. Everything's going fine. I drink it up. I get done. I pull out and I go up to the stop sign. Here comes this big Camaro, revving its motor, revving its motor. So I'm revving my motor, revving my motor. Well, he turns right, and I'd smoke the tires off and make it about 80 feet, and then the blue lights come on. That's right, busted. And so uh, the cop says, "Where do you live?" And I says, "I don't know the address." I says, "I can show you." And he says, "Okay." And so I did. I took him in. He knocks on the door. He says, Gerald opens the door and says, do you know him?" He says, "Yeah, yes, I do." And he steps outside and closes the door, leaves the family inside. And the officer told him what was going on, so on. So I got grounded for a month for being in the cars. And he stood by it right to the end. And I begged and bored and bartered and whatever. And it wasn't long we came head to head. in a physical confrontation, and he had to send his family outside. And I was calling him names and everything in the book. Uh, I was big but skinny as a rail, semi-tall, I should say. And Daryl was about 250, 260, and very wide-bodied, could have been a football player. Anyway, so we got into the physical altercation, and no punches were thrown. So he grabbed me and he put me on the ground. And he sat on my chest and held my arms down. And I commenced yelling and cursing and screaming until I got it all out. And then started crying and whatnot. And anyways, the bottom line was we developed a good relationship. And he started me into working on the car, fixing it up, race type thing. And we did that for off and on for a year when we could afford it. It was pretty strapped times back then. And Cheryl, of course, was wonderful, and we had a lot of nice talks. And we started going to church regular, and I was meeting young people and so on and so forth. At 16 years old, of course, you think you know it all, and you know nothing. And of course, I love Keith and Kimberly, and developed a relationship with them. And, it wasn't all a cakewalk. We had some tough times. We had some experiences on canoeing, and Keith going for the shore, and wanted the shore repeatedly until he got there. But it was a wonderful time. It was a life-changing experience. Had God not put it upon Gerald's mind to go over to Miles and say, hey, and then put it upon his mind to ask Cheryl and to bring me into their home, I would probably be making this video in a prison, because that's exactly where I was headed. So, there's no doubt it was of the Lord. And I still love them all, and I see them occasionally, and the Lord has blessed them, and I'm very pleased with that. Get in the Word, stay in the Word. See you on the next testimony video.